Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. We get together with our distribution partners most weekday mornings at this time, 8 o'clock Central, talk about strategies, tips, techniques, share success stories, and support each of you. Today's topic, as you should see on the shared screen, we're going to go back and revisit the Client Placement Program, CPP for short. We initially launched this a couple weeks ago, and we've had really good success with it. So I wanted to go back and revisit how it works and make sure that we're answering your questions. So let's start with this introduction. As you may know, separate from the CPP, we have the Collateral Support Program. What is the Collateral Support Program, or what benefits does it provide clients? Well, the Collateral Support Program is a legal method of transferring assets in the form of receivables to put on the client's financials so they have collateral to qualify for funding. And then we can help them liquidate those receivables and turn that into cash to improve their cash flow, their bank statements, and their income statement / profit and loss. But, truth be known, the Collateral Support Program is composed of non-performing debt. So let's stop with and understand the difference between performing debt instruments and non-performing. A performing debt instrument is, for instance, if any of you have had a student loan or maybe a mortgage where it changed companies. The originator sold that mortgage or sold that student loan to another company. That's an example of a performing debt. So that receivable, whether it be for a home loan or for a student loan, in those examples can be sold to a new entity, and now you owe the new entity. So I think we've all heard of that or maybe even experienced it. In contrast, there's non-performing debt. Non-performing debt means that the debtor, the person that owes the money, isn't currently paying for it. Now, there's a whole big marketplace for non-performing debt. At first, you might say, well, if it's non-performing debt, it's worthless. Why would I buy it? Well, a couple reasons. Typically, you're able to buy it for pennies on the dollar. And just because the debtor isn't currently paying doesn't mean that it's not legally owed. And so through collection activity and or litigation, it's very possible, even probable, that that money in full or in part can be collected. So there's a big market. It might surprise you, but there's a big market for non-performing debt, where companies like Sallie Mae and Wells Fargo, they package non-performing mortgages or non-performing credit card debt with Capital One, non-performing auto loans from like Santander and other subprime lenders. So there's performing debt and non-performing debt. Both are real, both can be profitable, both are legally enforceable. So let's get back to our topic here. So here we're talking about there are some people that buy non-performing debt instruments to add collateral to their balance sheets and through liquidation to improve their P&L. What we're talking about today is even better than that. With the client placement program, we are talking about buying a performing contract that's worth at least $10,000 to your branch. And your upfront cost to acquire it is merely $250. Now, you might, and we'll go through details. So why is it worth $10,000? Well, when we're talking about the client placement program, these are clients that have enrolled in the credit and funding program. What does that mean? There's bilateral promises, which means both parties have made promises. But from the client's perspective, we'll call them the debtor, D-E-B-T-O-R, the debtor. The debtor has promised to pay $999.99 upfront upon execution of the contract for the setup fee. And they've also promised to pay 10% of the capital raised. They've promised to work with us to raise at least 100,000. Therefore, they've promised to pay at least 10,000 in performance fees. So that's why we're saying that these contracts through the CPP are literally worth $10,000 or more to you. Now, the goal, the intention, the expectation is that these clients that have enrolled recently in the credit and funding program will go through the process, be active participants, and have a successful capital raise and then pay the owner of the contract. But the truth is, even if they don't, if they breach the agreement, they still owe the 10,000. So I think this is a strong statement to begin with. You know, if you could buy a performing contract that's worth 10,000 or more for only $250, is that a good deal? I think you would say economically it is. But even better than that, these are new performing credit and funding clients, and they've promised to pay the first $999, called 1,000, within 48 hours. So just putting that in perspective, we developed the client placement program to assist our branches who want to work with clients, but they want to outsource in full or in part the client development process to our sales infrastructure. So what we're literally doing is providing contracted clients that have enrolled in the credit and funding, transferring them to the branch. So now they're an asset of the branch, a future receivable to the branch. Clarifying, yes, these are people who have already enrolled. These aren't leads. We had a little bit of a disconnect on the recent conversation where people were calling these leads. These aren't leads. They're beyond leads, right? A lead is someone that has not signed up yet. These individuals have signed up. They're contracted. They should be ready to pay you. There's no reason that they shouldn't be ready to pay you because they just enrolled and they clearly understand that they owe you or owe the owner of the agreement, of the contract, of the paper, the $999. And again, we don't want to harp too much on this, but it's important that you understand, whether it be through your branch, through an organic client, or in this case with the CPP, the way the agreements are written is that even if the client quits, they still owe that money. And some people don't understand contractual law very well. So they say, well, no, that can't be if they didn't receive the service. Well, they have certain performance requirements to be able to receive the services. And if they fail to be an active participant, then there's an acceleration clause in the agreement where they owe it. So it's true. It's real. So, and highlighted here, yellow note, these clients do count towards your branch production goals. So all of you that are branch owners, branch offices, you understand that when you enrolled, we agreed to waive your branch license fee perpetually as long as you generated at least 2 clients per week after that 30-day grace period. Now, some people say, well, that seems kind of rigorous. Why is that? Well, because we don't want dabblers. When we developed the branch program, we wanted committed professionals who are actively involved. Why is that? Well, because it's a better use of our time to work with people that are committed. And also, it's like just about anything in life, and we've discussed this before. When you dabble at something, you're probably not very good at it. And so we want people that are we want branches that are actively working with clients, because that means that they're going to be providing, we would expect, a better client experience. So if you look at your branch production and you are past your initial 30-day grace period, which is more than enough time to get up to speed, and you're not generating the 2 clients a week, you technically now owe the license fee. But we don't want you to pay the license fee. If we wanted you to pay the license fee, we would have asked you to pay that up front instead of deferring it. But if you're not finding a way on your own, despite our training and support and your efforts to generate at least 2 clients a week, the nice thing is you have an insurance policy. Just come in here, use the client placement program to supplement your numbers. You make money and you remain compliant. So hopefully that makes sense. So what is it that you get? So you're going to get a client that's under agreement. And we've talked about this frankly before. Pretty much everything in life has its pros and cons. Well, the CPP has a lot of benefits, but it does have some cons. So these clients are under agreement with us. They've gone to the guaranteedfunding.org website on the credit and funding page, so you can look at it just as they did. They filled out the lead form with their first name, last name, email, and phone. They progressed, and then they completed the enrollment, which is accepting the terms and conditions. They provided their social security number. They provided their driver's license number. So they're enrolled, but they're enrolled in what we call our in-house pricing. So that may be different than what you would normally go offer through your branch. So when I say there's a con, this is a con. They're signing up for our terms versus yours. So if you don't like our pricing, now I think the contractual terms are probably the same. So the terms and conditions that clients are accepting on our website, which is transparent, you can go look at them too, is the same, are the same as the template we've provided you to use for your branch. So I don't think that there's a difference in the language, but the pricing is my point. In the in-house agreements, they're agreeing to pay a $9.99 refundable setup fee. And I realize through your branch, you might be charging more. So that would be a disadvantage. You're making a little bit less upfront. And then the performance fee for the CPP clients is always a flat 10%. Through your branch, you may be charging more. You could be charging less, but many of you are charging more. So it's just important to go into this eyes wide open. This is the structure of the agreement that comes with the CPP clients. So we'll transfer ownership of that contract, of that debt from us to you. So now you'll implement the client as a branch client, which we'll talk about in a moment. And now you'll receive all the monies from the client. So hopefully that makes sense. So with that being said, you still have the full opportunity to assist clients if they needed additional resources, and you'll still make the normal money. What do I mean by that? So let's say that the client, we realize they could really benefit from the startup program, which isn't today's topic, so I don't want to go too deep into that. We've had separate trainings, and that's a separate page on the website you can look at. But just to keep it short, if they did need the startup program, you would still make your $1,250 upfront from that. You're not reduced or giving up anything. Let's say that we find out that they have a collateral shortfall. So again, that's a separate program, separate training, but just for further clarification, you would still make your $2,500 up front. So the point is, while you are paying to receive these clients, all the back end money is split evenly as normal. The performance fee is split 50-50 as normal, but let's go ahead and get down into the dollars and cents. Before we get to that, it states, well, what would you do? So if you signed up, and we had several of you who have enrolled and are receiving CPPs, once we send you the client, it's your client. You just need to roll with it. You would implement them through the normal 3 phases. If you don't know how to implement clients, you need to let us know. We can assist you, as well as point you towards trainings that are available in the training library on YouTube. So let's get down to the pricing model, because we don't do this for free unless you have paid your license fee in full. So some of you are deciding to pay your license fee in full, so you don't have the production requirements, so you can come in for the free in-person 1-day training, and then you receive the CPPs for free. But other than that, the normal pricing model is laid out as follows. So if you, for every CPP, every client placement that you want, you're going to let us know. We'll invoice you and you're going to pay $250 for that. Then you're going to collect the $9.99 from them because that's what they promised to pay, right? That's the refundable setup fee that they promised to pay within 48 hours of enrollment. So then of that, you'll pay us the remaining 500. So just to make it short, on the front end, you'll generate 250 profit versus more. So I do realize that if you organically generate clients, you will make more on the front end than through the client placement program. That is factual. But in this case, it's handed to you, so it's easier and it can be your insurance policy if you're off track for production. Beyond that, though, as I referenced before, it's normal. So the performance fee is split 50-50. So that's fine, that's the norm. However, the performance fee is just 10% because that's what we do for our in-house deals. So you're going to make at least another 5,000. So you've made 250 profit here. Oops, if I can highlight it, 250 profit here. You know you're going to make at least 5,000 more profit on the back end. So you're at 5,250 a client. Not a lot of money, right? You and I are probably not in this to get rich quick, but you certainly could be doing one of these a day. And if you start to extrapolate that out, if you're making right about 5,000 a day, we'll just round it off, and you do that 30 days a month, that puts you at your branch at around 150,000. So again, I know many of you are successful. Maybe an extra 150,000 a month isn't enough to move your needle of interest, but for the average person to earn an extra 150,000 a month, that's a good side gig. And then, as we mentioned before, any of the additional income we would still split evenly. Ken's bringing up a point which I overlooked, which is very valid. So from the moment that this client placement program is enacted, so in other words, once we transfer that client to you, you could, and this is Ken's point, you could immediately go to your QuickBooks or however you're tracking your money and put in an accounts receivable, because now you know that client's going to pay you at least $10,999.99. Not all owed up front, but that's the contractual minimum value of that client. So Ken's point is, so you can go put that in your QuickBooks or your financial system, and you could even factor that if you wanted, and then get 97 cents on the dollar advanced to you through the factoring. So thank you, Ken, for bringing that up. And then also that provides collateral on your branch's part if you're trying to get funding, because this is real AR. This is money owed to you. Thank you, Ken, for pointing that out. All right, and so then the bottom line is, and we'll get to your questions, but if you want to participate, just let us know. It's real simple. We had several of you yesterday. You just let us know. We'll invoice you. You pay the invoice of $250 per, which we said here, and then we'll transfer the deals over to you. All right, so Sedruden asks, can a branch sign up for the client placement program and also ask for leads? Yes, but we're converting more of the leads. So we have less leads now than we did before, because now that we started offering the client placement program, we're going and closing more of those leads. So there's fewer leads available, but there's more CPPs available, which many of you prefer anyway. But if you have a thirst, a desire, a need for leads, I would strongly recommend developing an affiliate distribution team, a sales organization. We had a training on that, I think 12 days ago. You can go to our YouTube channel and revisit that. So if you need leads, I think there's better ways, but if you want clients, this is the best way. Thank you for that, Sedruden. All right, so Linzo asks, is there a minimum order? Yeah, one. You can just order one if that's what you want. You don't have to order in bulk, so that's fine. Denise asked a good question. What happens if they don't pay? Well, we shouldn't see that too often, but hypothetically, I mean, that could happen, right? So you have a client that's under contract and they owe you how much? They owe you the $999 plus the $10,000. So now you've purchased what we thought was a performing contract, because from all eyes and all reasonableness it was. But if they don't pay for some reason, which again, I don't think you'll run into too often, but that could happen. So if you run into that, then what we need to do is collect that money, because that's still real money owed to you. It's $10,999 that you're out of pocket $250 for, which is the equivalent of what? 2.5 cents on the dollar. That's a good price. That's a reasonable price to pay for non-performing debt, let alone performing debt. So then what we would want to do is collect that money from the debtor, right? So we could either submit them into collections, we could submit them into litigation, but somehow, some way, we want to go collect that money from those individuals, those debtors, because they owe you that money. So it's still a great investment on your part, because you're spending 2.5 cents on the dollar. All right, let's see. Sedrun says, I'm not sure exactly what Sedrun said. I think he's asking, well, I don't know, Sedrun, if you can re-ask that question, I'm guessing on that one. John's asking about the $999. So the $999 is a refundable setup fee to the client, and it's refunded back to the client from the grant, through us, from the grant we received. So that's right, John. The $999 does go back to the client, but it does not come out of your pocket, not in part, not in full. The grant covers that. So once the client has participated in the program and raised at least $100,000, then that $999 is refunded back to them. Now, in truth, if you're generating your own clients, you're probably charging $1,999. That's the norm. And the grant still reimburses the client for that full $1,999.99 without any chargeback to you. So no offset to your future income. That's the benefit of the grant. All right, so Ken then asks, says, the break-even point of paying for the $10,000 license fee is buying 40 clients. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so let me explain. Ken's right, but so what we've explained is we don't ask you to pay for your branch license fee. We don't. When you enroll, we didn't send you an invoice for your branch license fee. Now, you paid the setup fee, I know, but you didn't pay the license fee. We don't want you to pay the license fee. If we wanted you to pay the license fee, we would ask you to pay for it up front. Instead, we said and say, hey, come in. We'll give you a 30-day grace period so you can get your feet wet, get your legs underneath you, and then let's just generate at least 2 clients a week. All of you that are branches have accepted to do that. Now we have insurance, essentially. So if for some reason you're not able to perform, which would be unusual but possible, then you can just simply plug into the client placement program. Ken's point is that our offer that we made, and it was a training I think last week, is if you do want to go ahead and pay your license fee, okay, great, you don't have to, but if you want to pay that license fee in advance, pay for it, then you get extra perks. And if you remember, there were 3 perks that we discussed about that on that training. We said, number 1, you'd get free client placement programs if you pay your license fee. So that was perk 1. Perk 2 was that you're able to join us for live training. We do live trainings now on Saturdays. And so if you wanted to come join us for a live training, 8 hours, network with other branches, and just have a real immersive hands-on experience, you're welcome to do that. And that would be free as long as you pay your license fee. So Ken's point's just simply, he was doing the math on, instead of paying for the client placement program, he might just want to pay for the license fee, which that's up to you. All right. So Sadden Rudin came back and says, quote, if we do faster through QuickBooks, well, that's weird, Sadden Rudin. I don't know what that means, but we'll come back to that, Sadden Rudin, maybe offline. I think there's just a language barrier. I'm not following you. All right. So with that being said, nothing new today. I just wanted to help you have top of mind awareness that the client placement program is available. And with that, you are able to get one or multiple clients. It's kind of on demand. You don't have to commit to certain volume or certain frequency. And if you needed assistance with that, then that is available for you. Just simply let us know. We'll send you an invoice. You'll pay the invoice, the $250 per placement, and then we'll transfer the clients over. We transferred a number of them to several of you this morning. Easy cheesy. All right, if you need any other assistance, just let us know. You can reach out to us, and we'll be back tomorrow morning. Have a great day. See you then. Bye-bye.